Hi, this is Kamala Murphy, and you're listening to the Heart and Chutzpah podcast, where we talk about giving ourselves permission or having the chutzpah to just claim a right to live really juicy, luscious lives. With our big hearts, we're going to face love and loss, heartache and healing. We'll fall down and rise up again. And through it all, we'll develop our heart and our chutzpah, and we'll find our way to our own unique, luscious, and amazing life. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy this episode. Hi, this is Kamala Murphy. Welcome to this episode of the Heart and Chutzpah podcast. Thank you so much for listening in. You know, I love synchronicities most of the time. One of the synchronicities I've noticed recently is that in talking with clients and colleagues and friends, there's a lot coming up for many of us about family dynamics, how our families were, the wounds that we experienced as little kids, just how our families operated. And what's really interesting to me is that much of this is coming up very close to Father's Day. And for me, I had an interesting relationship with my father. And so he passed away many years ago, but I just have mixed feelings about Father's Day, missing my father, still having some issues with my father. And it was really interesting. I thought this week, and trust me, I have done years of therapy and often focusing on my father and my relationship with him. I've done healing work, I've journaled, I've done you name it. And most of the time I feel like I've done a lot of forgiveness and I'm on an even keel about that relationship. But the last week or so, I was talking with one friend in particular, and we were talking about being the golden child or the favorite or not being the favorite. And all of a sudden, I just started feeling this sadness come up and recognizing a wound from childhood that although I loved my dad more than anything when I was very little, once my sister was born, things changed. And I wasn't the golden girl anymore, and really felt that I was second best, and which created one of those wounds about being less than. So that got triggered in the last week or so. And, again, because it's near Father's Day, there's just a lot coming to the surface about that. I was shocked, frankly, at how emotional I got about the relationship and being second best. You really do think that you've healed so much of the wounding, and without knowing it, all of a sudden, out of the blue, boom, you're triggered again. Or I was. One of the things that I noticed was that I was really surprised by the emotion and noticing that I was judging myself for still having those emotions. And one of the practices that I've been working with, for some time now, is looking at the shadow or the parts of us that are either darker or we'd like to shove away. And I realized that one of the parts that I was shoving away is the bitterness and wounding and sadness and hurt that I still experienced about my relationship with my dad. Over the last several days, I've taken the opportunity to really look at some of that and not judge the, probably 5-year-old, 7-year-old part of me that really did feel betrayed by my father, really did feel deeply hurt by some of his actions. And so rather than judging myself for having these hard emotions come up out of the blue, I was able to take some time to just kind of love up that hurt little girl. And it's so helpful for me to be able to recognize that, yes, even though I've done all the healing, I've done the forgiveness processes, there are days, there are triggers that are going to just, poke at that still unhealed part. And that part may never be fully healed. And that's okay. As long as I'm not judging that part when it does rise up, when it's been triggered by some conversation or some event. Again, because it's so close to Father's Day, I know a lot of women had great relationships with their fathers. And yet I know that there are a lot of women like me whose relationships were a little conflicted, a little challenging. If you are one of those women who had a difficult relationship with your father, or a love bitterness relationship with your dad, I invite you to take a little time and see if there are some places where that young part of you could really use some love and attention and some space to express, all the things that she is feeling right now. Because I know from my experience, when I am shoving that aside, saying, you should be over that by now, that sends that part of me wanting to hide and intending to crop up at the least opportune moments. So again, if you are one of those women who have had some difficult relationships with your father and know that it would be helpful for you to love up that younger part of you, I encourage you to take some time. These a holiday like Father's Day can really bring up some of the more tender parts of us. So I invite you to spend some time taking care of yourself, whether your father's alive or not. Be good to that younger part of you. And if you're feeling it all stuck and would like a little support, I'll put a link to my calendar in the show notes for a brief conversation, just to get a little extra support if you'd like that. So that's it for today. Have a great week. Lots of love to you. Bye for now. So there you have it, a little heart and chutzpah for the day. Today, give yourself a little permission to be both big-hearted and a little feisty, just like you were created to be. Thank you for joining me. I hope you'll reach out to me via social media at Kamala Murphy, and it's Murphy with an EY, or at my website, kamalamurphy.com. Again, thank you for joining me. Many blessings until next time. Bye for now.